Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. Really excited about this video because I've been kind of throwing out that we were going to have a big surprise this year, and this is it. And we're finally here in a process. We've been Steph and I had actually been for a couple years thinking about having land outside of the 0.19 acres in Raleigh, North Carolina, some space where we could have a place where people could visit and a place where people could we could actually introduce them to a lot more interesting plants. And then we came across we came down here to Johnson Nursery, and this is Annie Johnson of Johnson Nursery, and we've got a space now. We've got a space to do this, and we're really excited about it. And we're going to talk more about the space in just a minute. But give us some history of your family's, the nursery here.
Sure, yes. Well, I'm Annie, like Jim said. My dad, David Johnson, started this nursery about 43 years ago. So we're a wholesale nursery, and we also have a retail center. We primarily sell plants to independent garden centers, mom and pop garden centers, and landscapers. So
yeah, it's a really beautiful nursery. It's down in Wallace, North Carolina, which is outside. We wouldn't call it a suburb of Wilmington, but it's closer to Wilmington as a bigger city than any place else in North Carolina. Okay, so now what about this garden? This garden is is an extension on your family's land.
Yes, so we're standing currently in the Gardens of Southeastern North Carolina, which is our nonprofit. Yeah. This garden really had we broke ground about 2 years ago, so we're babies, right. But we have such big dreams and hopes, and the garden's mission statement is to improve lives by cultivating inspiration. And so even partnering with Jim and seeing what you are going to do here, it's going to improve lives, absolutely. Okay, so much inspiration is going to be in what we're standing in weeds, but what will become behind us.
Yeah. So thank you very much. We're super excited about it. Met with your dad and you and your brother, and there's a lot of energy here. And what you guys have done already in the garden over there is beautiful. And we hope that our piece of the garden is as nice as what you've already put in over here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, it's cool because there's so much teamwork here. So yes, it is my family and my mom as well, but there's people that we could just list off that contributed. So we're really honored that you're part of our team now. So
the Gardens of Southeastern North Carolina has an event center. It's part of their garden center. They have a lot of things in the ground already, and it's a beautiful space. And this is just a winding path that comes off of that, and then the garden that Steph and I are going to be designing and going to be developing over the next few years is right here. There's a road that goes right kind of through the middle of it, and it's, I think, initially going to be about a half an acre that we're going to be getting rid of all these grassy weeds and wood chipping, and basically starting a garden just like you would at your home. That's the ultimate goal here, is just like anything else that we would do, is we're going to start with soil improvement. This is in eastern North Carolina, and the soil's a little bit different. So Raleigh is in the eastern edge of the Piedmont, but it's still in the Piedmont where the red clay is. And as you get east of Raleigh, pretty quickly it changes to a sandier and sandier soil. So what I'm standing on right here is a different soil. It's still pretty nutrient rich. Things grow here readily, and so I don't have to worry about it a whole lot, whether things will grow here or not. But we do want to improve the soil exactly the same way we did at home. So we're going to clean this up. There's only going to be a few videos here this year, but we're going to clean this up. We're going to mow this down to the ground. We're going to bury it in wood chips, and then we're going to wait. We're going to allow those wood chips to break down some and really start to improve the soil. There's a few trees in here we're going to take down. There's a few great natives actually in this space that we're going to leave. Really interesting things. There's a star jasmine growing on a pine that needs to come down, and we're going to take a couple invasive plants out of here. I'm joined by David Johnson, and I wanted to point out this tree. This tree is pretty daggone special, and if you come to the Gardens of Southeastern North Carolina, this is the focal point. Can you tell us about this tree?
How much time do I have?
Yeah, all the time you need. Okay. All the time you need. This tree is pretty special.
This goes way back to my relationship with Dr. J.C. Ralston from the NCSUR. He was a professor. Yeah. He was my professor at State. And
Steph's professor as well. You're right, yes.
Great guy, right? So inspirational. Yeah. So when I started the nursery, JC would give me plants, and he gave me so much stuff.
Yeah.
But he gave me this weeping hackberry, which we planted up by the office. And within 2 or 3 years, it had outgrown its base. It was kind of ugly, to be honest. And so we dug it up and put it on the sidewalk. Well, Jimmy Moore, who used to take care of all this, he just mowed it because but 30 years ago, I knew this was special property because Jimmy just mowed it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we threw this thing on the sidewalk, and Jimmy dug it up. No, he picked up the sidewalk and he planted it right here. He didn't ask permission, which is fine.
Yeah.
He just planted here. And it's kind of like Charlie Brown's Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it was ugly.
Right, yeah,
but
right.
Jimmy loved it and put it here. And so this tree has flourished.
Yeah,
Well,
it really has.
We lost Jimmy to cancer about 10 years ago. This tree is probably 20 years ago. At the same time, we started noticing this thing is amazing. So we had Bartlett Tree Company come in and they pruned it correctly, which we weren't doing. And so now this is our showcase tree. It's a weeping hackberry.
Yeah.
You can tell the fancy name.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
It's
Yeah,
on
we will.
the-
Yes,
it's
we'll
on-
put it on the. It's on the screen. Yes, right. Yeah.
It's on the plaque
Yes.
over there.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so this is a beautiful tree. It's part of Southern Lights. We light it up for Southern Lights. But more importantly, it's a great
Yes.
testimony for J.C. Ralston and Jimmy Moore.
And as tempting as it is to climb in it,
Don't
if you come here for the light show, don't climb in it. We're starting with a half an acre, but he's actually given us land that goes well past that, and so we're going to have a lot of space here to be able to put a lot of different kinds of things in the ground, to really trial some things in the ground that we haven't been able to plant at the house, and show off a lot of interesting plants that we'd love to show you guys. We have things in containers at the house that have never gone in the ground that we would like to find a home for, and some of the more interesting things that we have. And then we'll have all kinds of, it's going to be a mix of annuals, perennials, shrubs, bulbs, trees, the same kinds of things we do in the Raleigh garden, but this is a garden you'll actually be able to come and visit. So it's going to be a little while, it's going to be a minute before, we can, get this soil, upgraded over the course of this year. And then the beginning of next year, we're going to jump in to this first half acre piece and really put lots and lots of plants in it. And then at that point, it'll be a place where hopefully some of you guys who happen to be passing through Eastern North Carolina, maybe going to one of our great beaches in North Carolina, can come and take a look at this garden. You can see behind me back here, we got a lot of cleaning up to do, and we'll get a lot of this material chipped up, and any tree that comes down in this space or anything that's coming down in this space will just be reused in the garden itself, as organic material. So anything that's here that we're knocking to the ground is going to become part of feeding the other thing that we're doing here. So we're not going to, be wasteful with any of the material that's in this space. It will just all become part of this new garden. And the other thing here is we're going to show off a lot of design. We have a lot of opportunity to show off, design and how the paths are going to meander through here, how we can create some rooms and have some different gardens within a larger garden, right? So there's that opportunity as well when the size of it is on the scale that this is, and you're seeing a very linear approach. It goes beyond that tree and well down the road here, so it's a pretty big space. Not only will you be able to visit it, but Steph and I are going to be here pretty frequently, so we hope to be able to see some of you visit the garden and happen to be here, during those times, and there'll be some scheduled time that we'll be here as well, so folks can come and take a look at this garden. There will be irrigation in this garden. This sandy soil down here is, there's dry shade, and then there's sandy dry shade where it doesn't rain for a month. So there's irrigation running through it now. It'll be upgraded in some way, but the main pipe is already running through here, so that'll be part of this plan, and getting in here and cleaning it up. And we've got, back here there's a native cherry laurel that's absolutely beautiful. It's unbelievable how full that thing's growing. And then, looking over to the right of that, I've got an invasive Elaeagnus that we'd like to get rid of. So that'll be part of the story here too, is kind of reclaiming, some of the space where there's some invasive plants in this space. And this will be native plants, but it'll also be non-invasive, non-natives as well, just like we have in the garden at home. But if there's something in here that's invasive, we'd like to get it out of here and have it be a garden that's not doing damage to the outside space from here, right? But it's beautiful and enjoyable. But there'll be tons of natives. There'll be absolutely tons of natives in this garden. So we're excited. We're going to jump in here again over the next some portion of this year. There'll probably only be about 4 videos from here this year. One will be the prep and getting wood chips down on this first part of it. The next one will be, updates on it, later in the year. And then we'll come in here, maybe put the drone up above this and show you how the paths are going to meander through this piece of property. It's interesting. It's wide at that one end where Steph started filming, and now we're in a narrower spot. And as we move past this, it will widen back out again. We're going to have an opportunity here to plant shade plants, dry shade plants, wet shade plants, because there's a creek down at the bottom of this piece. So we'll have full sun plants, we'll have ornamental trees. It's big enough ultimately that we can have some shade trees in here, and we already have a few native shade trees in here. So an interesting space that we can really show off a lot of different kinds of plants and hopefully do a little bit of teaching along the way like we always do. So thank you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to follow along with this journey. I really think that this has been something we've been looking forward to for a while. Again, we were looking for land and thinking about this for a little while. I've got a piece of property in Johnston County that I was originally going to move my nursery to, and it's just not a welcoming space. This space has already been developed in a way that there's a parking lot, and you can come and see our garden, the other gardens here that have already been installed, garden center, incredible nursery. It's the incredible nursery supplying plants to that garden center, and then a space where speakers and events happen as well, including a Christmas light display that happens here as well. So follow along. Thank you very much.